So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Shakti Flow. Take a comfortable seat, close the eyes, and just take a moment to center. I don't know about you, but every time I sit, I notice my chin is lifted a little bit. It's just maybe an old habit. So check in with yourself about where your neutral neck and head position might be, how your shoulders feel. They might be wrapped around towards the back of the body, not hovering towards the front of the body. And we just take a couple of breaths here, checking in, noticing anything that might be present. Allow the breath to move down into the belly so that we send the message to the nervous system that we're awake, we're alert, we're present, but we're also calm and grounded and steady. And that simple act of breathing in the belly will do all of that for you. This morning, our theme today is moving within our own limits or boundaries. What does that mean? Really honoring where we are in the moment. So maybe you're tired, but you still want to be here. Then you just go at a slower pace or with less weight. Maybe you've got lots of energy and you feel like, wow, I could really do a lot. Well, then you do a little bit quicker pace and you do more weight. Whatever it is for you, we're going to honor that. So bring the hands together, holding the palms at your heart and holding that intention of honoring the body, honoring where you are at the moment, and anything else you need this morning. Take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, let go of the hand, softly open the eyes, gently roll the shoulders. All right, so I want you to start lying in child's pose first. We're going to do a movement on the floor before we get standing, but I want you to take a moment to come into child's pose. And once you get to child's pose, let your arms extend over your head. So you're in what's called extended child's pose. Knees can be slightly open so that your hips can sit back more. If your head touches the floor, that's terrific. Let it be a moment of connection to earth, connection to grounding. And as you're feeling and sensing here, noticing from the palms of the hands all the way to the lateral sides of the spine, down into the hips, notice the length, feel the breath, and become aware of anything that might be present that you want to take care of today. Letting the flow of the breath and the intention carry you through the class. On your inhale, come forward. Before we do our first action, I just want you to come to tabletop, turn your toes under, inhale for cow pose. Heart goes forward and body weight shifts a little forward. Then flip your feet, tailbone goes down. Press through your arms for cat pose. And so we're moving the spine. We're starting to wake up. Not worrying so much about what it looks like. Notice what it feels like. Now let's do one more round, just nice and smooth. And exhaling. Now, if you have blocks, you can use them in this next motion. I kind of got away from the flossing idea. I don't know why that was, but it's really important to do, especially in the beginning of any workout. So we're going to do one today. Let me turn so you can see. Step forward to the outside of your blocks. So if your blocks are underneath your shoulders or in line with your shoulders, your foot is outward. And I want you to turn your foot a little bit on an angle so that when you bend forward into this lunge, your knee is a little bit open. Okay? So put your blocks where you think you're gonna get the most support on the highest range. Bring your hips forward and your knee moves open. So be careful about turning your foot out too far and your knee can't quite go. Make your knee and your foot be in the same alignment. From this place, push down through your front foot. Try to drag it backwards, but don't move it. And then set your hips back toward the wall behind you. When you get to that end range where you feel like I just can't go any farther, release it all and come forward again. Push down, pull back, and glide backwards. So this is the working part here. And then the releasing part is when you come forward. And we repeat it over and over again. I'm going to do about 5 or 7 reps here. Push down, pull back, and glide. And it's really funny. I took some training on this last year, right? And that's when I was really gung-ho and introducing it on all the classes. And since then, I have been seeing it everywhere. It's like, oh, the fitness pros are all getting the message, and the yogis are all getting the message. And so it's really nice to see. Push one more time, pull back. Good, and then stop. Go ahead and release your knee back and wiggle back a little bit. I want you to sit back in child's pose with your hands on top of the blocks. And once you get to your range, I want you to push down against the blocks, like you're trying to smash them. Push down, push down, push down. Keep your head in between your arms. One more push here, nice and strong, and then inhale, come forward. Right foot or other foot comes forward. Find that forward lunge position. The knee should go past the ankle, but the ankle stays on the floor. And then push down, pull back, and glide. Keeping your whole foot on the floor today. And come forward, push, pull, and glide. And so we're just moving in and out of this action, keeping the active part of this movement on the backwards motion. So push the foot, pull it backward, and then you'll feel the activation in the back of your leg. And then you go back to lengthen the muscle. We're focusing right now on the back of the leg and part of the hip structure. Good, let's do 2 more. And forward is kind of your range, and then push and pull and go back. And if you're feeling any kind of sensation in a weird place, like I can feel it in my right side back, that's telling you something. Good, and then release it. Bring your legs back and go back one more time to that extended child's with the hands on top of the blocks. Push down against the blocks, and can you feel your arms engage? If you're too far back, wiggle your blocks towards you a little so you can feel this. Head is between your arms or slightly above your arms, but you're pushing down to activate the muscles in the arms. One more breath here. Good, and then release it. Go ahead and move your blocks off to the side. Come back to tabletop. Toes turned under, inhale, cow pose. And flip the feet, exhale, cat pose. So we want to see, is there any difference? Do I feel more range? Do I notice or have deeper sensation in my body as I'm going? Let's do one more round. Nice open fingers, nice active fingers. So don't take your wrist for granted. All right, the next time you come through cow pose, stay there. Tailbone up, heart up, toes are under. I want you to lift your belly slightly so that you're not hanging in your lower back, and then float off your knees and go back to downward facing dog. Once you're in downward facing dog, press only one heel. And you can see my heel does not go to the floor, but I'm thinking more about my spine and my sit bones than I am about my legs. And then switch the other heel. And noticing what you notice, pressing back and forth. Taking a moment here to really notice, how does this feel in the back of my body? And then lift both heels way up off the floor, bend both knees so your sitting bones come higher. You feel like you're getting longer in your spine, and then drop your heels down wherever you can without sacrificing your long spine. On your next exhale, walk your feet forward, taking a breath in the front of your mat, releasing hands. You can even make a fist and rotate your wrists. And then walk your feet so that they're directly underneath your sitting bones. Drop your hips down, look forward, bring your arms back behind you. So when you reach back, your chest comes up. And you're in that little extension again. So pull your belly in so you're not overly arching the back. And then as you inhale, fly or float upward. Exhale, hands down, palms facing forward. And we pause here in Tadasana. All right. So close your eyes for a moment in Tadasana. Now we just moved around just a little bit. Sense and feel what's going on. And part of the theme of honoring the body is to keep checking in. Because the checking in, it's like, oh, it's kind of like talking to your partner, talking to your dog, like you're checking in. How are you doing? What do you need? Open your eyes. On your inhale, arms are going to come up over your head. Simple movement. Exhale, palms come down. And I want you to keep your palms facing me. Fingertips touch, pinky fingers touch. Inhale up, thumbs touch. Exhale down, pinkies touch. Next little bit, inhale, lift up, and then bend your knees so you're in a chair. Your fingers will touch somewhere in front of your knees, maybe. Don't worry about how deep it is right now. Think more quality of movement. We're just prepping for more activity. One more time. So I'm going to turn so you can see. I want you to keep in that chair position, but this time bring your arms behind you like you did before. Lift your toes so you're in your whole foot and you're activating the back of your body as well as the front. And we're going to inhale and exhale here. So as you inhale, stand up. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, stand up. Exhale. And as we're moving through this, the exhale represents anything you don't need today. What can you let go of? Past experiences, worry, whatever it is, see if you can exhale that idea out of your body. You don't need it in there. One more time. Exhale. Now we're going to pause here. Palms are facing forward or downward, I guess I should say. Now lift your toes again. You'd be surprised how easy you get into your knees. And then reach forward, palms to the sky, shoulders on your back. Bend your elbows. Keep your thumbs moving to the wall behind you as you come to cactus. Now we're staying here for 3 to 4 breaths. I'm taking a break to keep an eye. So remember your thumbs are facing backward like you're hitchhiking, and you've got this motion in your shoulder where you're rotating it back so that you can expand the back body rather than collapsing forward. One more breath. Inhale, come all the way to standing, and exhale, pause, Tadasana. All right, third and last warm-up move. We're going to start to move laterally now. I haven't done this move in a long time. So, and we are going to repeat everything that we do again with more weight and more intensity. So your left leg, I want you to step it back behind you, bend your knees and touch it with your opposite, touch your front knee with your opposite hand. Inhale, come to standing, step back, other foot, bend the knee, touch. Inhale, step, touch. Inhale, exhale. Now we're warming up, right? So what I want you to find is your range. So I can show you here, this is, I'm going to call this level 1. If you step back farther and dip more, you can touch the ankle or the floor. But the thing I want you to think about is, where is your chest and head? So I don't want you to drop down and touch the floor. That's not going to be helpful to you. Can you bend the knee more? I'm going to stay up and not go quite so deep. But I want you to find your range, because this is going to come back later The last piece of this is take a wide step as you go. Wide step, lunge. Wide step, lunge. One more. And you're going slow on purpose. Pause in the middle, hands down, palms forward, Tadasana. You move through that slowly because it's a complicated movement. And you don't want to do it quickly because you don't want to end up tweaking something. Alrighty, so now we're going to take our weights. And I'm going to go back to my little baby weights that I started with when I first started teaching this. These are, I think, 2 pounds. We're going to start in chair, and I'm going to turn so you can see. Bring your feet all the way together, bend your knees, and come into your chair pose. So chair pose can also say squatting pose. Elbows pull to the side of your body, and then extend your arms. So remember, toes up a little bit helps you keep in your whole leg. As you inhale, you're going to reach back, bring your hands to your shoulders, push overhead. So it's a linear motion where we're keeping close to the body. It's a little bit easier. And so you have to decide about weights here. Because it's our first move, encourage you to think lighter weight. As we go, the weights can get heavier as you feel like you can. We're working shoulders, triceps, biceps, arms, basically, and up and back. Now stay back here and bending your elbows only and press. Last week we did a lot of this, a lot of working triceps and biceps, so you might have felt that after class. Push, in, push. And so we're working that just the arm without the shoulder here. Can you keep your collarbones open and your shoulder blades squeezing to the wall behind you? One more. Good. Bring your weights to your chest. Stand all the way up and see if you can press through your left foot and flex your right knee. So you're balancing. Take a breath here, and as you reach back with your right foot, stand in warrior one. So your back foot's on the floor, your front knee's over your ankle. And I want you to lean forward. We did this last week, so tell me how this feels, and then stands up. So we're working this front hip with this leaning forward, and I've got the weights right against me. I don't want you to have them dangling in midair. I'm just testing your front hip. One more. Good. And now keep one or both weights in your right hand and start to lean forward. Pull your shoulder blade and your elbow in towards your body. We're going to row on this side, down and up. Now I'm staying pretty high away from the floor. I'm doing it on purpose. You can go lower by taking a longer stance and deepening your front knee. Shoulder blades on your back, down and lift, and down and lift. Do one more, and down and lift. Good. Hands to heart, weights to your chest. Stand up and come to Tadasana. Shake your legs out a little bit, and then we'll do the other side. Starting with your chair, feet all the way together to touch. Reminding you the motion is linear, so you might want to go to a second weight. Bending your knees, coming into chair, lift your toes. Be aware of your lower belly. So if you pull it in too much, you're going to round your back. That's never a good thing. Just pull it in so front body, back body are working equally. Shoulders on your back, push back to your shoulders, stand and overhead. Back to chair, reach back, come to shoulders, up and overhead. Slow and controlled. Keep thinking about your toes not pushing hard into the floor to keep you out of your knees. Exercising and moving our body as we're older, or as we age, I should say, especially for women that are in menopause. We have to really be careful about what we do and how much we do, because once you get an injury, you can't really recover all that quickly. All right, stay to the back, shoulder blade squeeze, easy bicep and extension. Curl and extend. Belly slightly engaged. And curl and extend and curl. Last time, nice and smooth. And while you're moving, hold your weights at your chest, come to standing, and lift up your left leg now, or the other leg. So if you flex the one that's in the air, it gives you a little bit more power. Pelvis stays parallel and level. Step back to your warrior one stance. Knee over ankle, and with your weights at your chest, just lean forward so you completely flex from your front hip, and then come back up. And notice what you notice here on this side. Most of us need range of motion movement patterns, whether they're extremely hard or not, doesn't matter. But when you're just doing one movement pattern like walking, it limits you. Okay, now hold here. Put your weights or weight in your left hand now, and you're going to lean forward and do 8 rows here. So down to the floor, pull. Now you notice I'm not low. I've got my other hand on my leg and I'm keeping myself lifted. I'm doing it on purpose so that I don't overwork. I could go lower and I could do a lot more, but I'm trying to listen to the guidance that I've been given. And down and up. And let's do 2 more. Really work on that pulling action. Last one. Come all the way up, weights to your chest, stand and pause. Good. Bend your knees, put your weights down onto the floor. They can just be off to the side. So you're in a forward fold here. Let go of your head, let go of your arms. See if you can straighten one leg at a time now. Some of you might have freedom to straighten both and keep a long spine. Remember, that's what we're looking for. I don't want you to be rounded. And then take a breath, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Again, same rule. Think long arms, long spine, sitting bones to the sky, bend your knees if you need to, pedal your legs one at a time if you need to. Alrighty, come forward into your first plank. I'm gonna just drop to my knees, but you don't have to. Take a breath here. And then either knees up or down, we're gonna glide ourselves to the floor. So elbows slide. I want you to imagine your hands moving backward on the mat. And your elbows glide your side body and you land. All right, so this next move, I always have so much stuff around me. I want you to have room around you for this next move. So your hands are going to be down by your, let's say, chest, shoulders, not all the way back. Okay, and you've got some connection with your hands on the mat or the floor, correct? So what I want you to do is just keep your head and shoulders up. Don't lift too high. Keep your feet down. And you're going to slide your hands along the mat towards the floor in front of you. And then draw a half circle around you and come back to where you were. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, not up by your neck. Push. Glide. Now I want you to check in with your range of motion. Next time you come to your sides, hover your hands just off the floor. Lower them down, push into the floor like you're trying to create some action on purpose. Glide around, come back to your chest, hover, and maybe lift your feet. Lower, push, glide. So this is range of motion for shoulders. Come back to center, hover. Now this last one, try and see what it feels like. Keep your hands just off the floor. So you're not on the mat anymore, but I'm like hovering around. When I get to my chest, hover and lift. Good, relax. Hands underneath your ribs, push up and downward facing dog. take a little walk to the top of your mat. And allow yourself to release, let go of your hands. Again, you can make fists or you can rotate your wrists, turn your head up and down and rotate side to side. And then when you're ready, bring your feet so they're directly underneath your sitting bones. Drop your hips down, bring your arms to the wall behind you, and that reach back lifts your chest. Good. From here, arms forward, shoulders on your back, palms together. And then lift all the way to standing. So you're in Tadasana with extended arms. Exhale, hands down, pause. All right, second round, we're gonna go back to that warm-up move of the lunge. So I want you to pick up whatever weight you wanna hold. And I wanna remind you that you've got a choice to put your hands at your chest and just touch your opposite leg. I'm gonna be doing arms open. So we're working shoulders here. So you don't have to do the arms open, but it will give you an extra oomph. We're gonna start with the hands at the chest. And just like we did before, take your left foot, step behind, bend both knees and touch your knee, calf, or ankle. Find something to touch. I'm gonna be here. Come to center. Other side, touch. Come to center. Now start to make your step a little wider and a little deeper. So I want you to use the level of your mat, the width of your mat. And then if you want, we're gonna add the arms. Open, cross, open, cross. And remember, I'm staying high on purpose. You can go all the way down, bend that back knee to touch the floor. That's where you can go, but keep your head up. Step. Now one last little piece here, and it's your choice. You're gonna take a little hop. Hop, step. Hop, step. I'm not gonna do that anymore, but you can do it. Open. Last one. Other side. And then pause in the middle. Bring your feet underneath you and bring your arms down so the pinky side of your hand touches. Palms are facing forward. We're gonna inhale, bring the arms all the way up, touch the thumb side. Exhale down. So making a circle here. Up and around. Arms stay just in front of the head. Shoulder work, range of motion. Next time you come down, bend your knees so that your hands are right in front of your knees and lift. So you find a weight that feels challenging, but isn't going to be so heavy that you can't do the movement. Slow everything down so you can feel what's happening. Let's do two more. Nice and smooth. And down. And up. Good. And down. Come to standing, Tadasana. Breathe. Take a moment. All right, so that was, I'm going to call that level 1. If you want a stronger weight experience, we're going to stay on one side and do just one arm. So I'm going to just drop one of my weights. Normally I would put a heavier weight in my hand, but I'm not going to do it today. So today for me is I'm staying curious around what happens. Okay, so weight on your chest. I'm starting with my right so that if you're following me, it'll be your left. You're going to step back with that same leg, curtsy, touch, and then when you come to center, open the arm. Do it again, down. And now this is a little bit more, this could be a little bit more dynamic. You push off that back leg. See, I'm getting ambitious. I went down too low. It's hard for me to slow down. So step and open. Working shoulders and legs at the same time. Core muscles are engaged. One more time. Good. Pause. Switch hands. Start other side. Step, touch, come up. So you're kind of in Tadasana when you're standing and in that curtsy when you're back and touching. Remember, I'm staying super high and I'm working, but I'm not overworking. And the trick that you know that you're working and not overworking is you can breathe through your nose. You don't have to open your mouth. Last two. Good. All right, and then release your arms. Last time around the world, pinky sides touch. Feet come all the way together this time. And as you inhale, bring your arms up and around your head. Sit down low, and then stand and push overhead. So if you're working at an appropriate weight, this last round, your shoulders should be pretty tired. You should be done with these. And I can tell you, because I know I can work with heavier weights, that this feels like I could do this all day long. It's not that hard. But I can feel myself breathing heavily. So it's an interesting thing, right? One more time. Down, up, and then bring your weights to your chest. Pause. Alrighty, at the top of your mat, flex over, weights go to the floor, fingertips touch the floor. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, come all the way down. Take a step back with your right foot and twist open to the left. Exhale down, step forward, switch sides, left foot steps back, twist open to the right. Hands go down, plant them on the mat, step back for plank pose, and stay here. Again, I'm going to put my knees down just for lowering my intensity. Your fingers are open, you're squeezing your fingers, and you're allowing your shoulders and your upper back, core body to really be engaged here. Legs engaged if your knees are off the floor. Take one more breath. And then everybody knees on the floor, unless you're supersonic. We're going to do 5 chaturanga push-ups here. So I want you to think about pulling your hand backward as you go. Your body will shift forward. You're going to bend your elbows and come almost all the way down. Push up 1. Pull. Push up 2. Keep going. So we've got 5 to do. Keeping your elbows, squeezing your side body as much as you can. And then after you do your 5th one, you're going to glide all the way to the floor, landing down. All right. Hands start shoulders. This is that repeat of that movement. Going to make it just a little bit more interesting. So the first round, just head up. Slide your hands toward the wall over your head. Make a half circle around you. Come back to where you were. Push into the mat. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And then lift everything up. Now see if you can stay here and reach your arms forward. Pull like you're making that big half circle. Come back to center. If this feels too hard, put yourself down and only lift at the end. Okay, so you're either staying on the floor with the circle and lifting at the end, or you're keeping lifted and you're sliding your arms around in that circle until you come back to center. Do one more on your own. Breathing. And again, you're really trying to give yourself a moment of understanding, like, what can I do and what can't I do? After that last round, just rest on the floor, turn your head to one side. Taking a moment here. Alrighty. So slowly pushing yourself up away from the floor. Do 3 cat-cows here, toes under, lift heart, lift tailbone. Foot flat, tailbone down, head down, push. So slow and steady. And every time you come back to this, this is another opportunity for you to check in, like, does this feel more fluid? Do I feel like I've got more mobility? All right, the next time you come to cow pose, I want you to stay there, hearts forward, toes are turned under, lift the belly slightly, hover your knees, and find your way to downward facing dog. As mindful as we were before, maybe pedaling the heels, but if you're doing that, do it slowly, and make sure that your sitting bones are sky high. Bend both knees, sitting bones to the sky, lift the belly, and see if you can extend your heels. And then walking yourself to the front of your mat. Once your feet get underneath you and under your sitting bones, let go of your hands, let go of your head. Soft knees. And then go ahead and sit down into your chair, looking forward, arms come back behind you. Remember that reach back really engages your back body. Inhale, come forward, palms together. If you feel like you can, start to lift your arms up so that they're along your ears, pulling your feet toward each other, lifting your pelvic floor and your lower belly. One more breath. And then inhale, come all the way to standing. Exhale, hands down. All righty. So our last little standing bit, we're going to go back to the beginning, and I want you to use a blanket. So we're going to come up on our heels on purpose. I've got this folded blanket here. I'm going to put it on the floor, and what I want is your heels on it. So it's like you're in high heels. You want to be up elevated off the floor at least an inch. Don't use your blocks, they're too high. And just find something that you can fold and put underneath you. Now, I want you to have your strongest weight, whatever you want to use. We're going to go back to that tricep bicep option to go overhead. Okay? So this is going to target more the front of the leg. So if you have knee issues, this is a really great exercise for you. Walk your feet either all the way together or underneath your sitting bones, your choice. Your ball of your foot's on the floor, the heels on the blanket. Your shoulders are rolled to the back of your body. You're standing here in Tadasana. Tailbone drops down, belly gets engaged. Just feel and sense what's happening. And then bend your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Notice I'm not pulling my elbows back. I'm just squeezing shoulder blades together, and I'm going to stay with that. Bend the knees and start to hinge into your chair pose. I want you to see if you can go lower. And then press your arms back and pull your arms forward to your shoulders. So that's level one, keep going. And to your shoulders. Push back, shoulder blades squeeze together the whole time. And when you go back with your arms, just pause there for a little second and then come back nice and slow. So it's not a swinging motion, as fun as that is. All right, the next time you come through, you've got the option to push overhead and stand. Come back down, sit low, reach back, come forward, option overhead. So the option for overhead is great because it gives your legs a little break, right? Because you get to stand up. And just keep thinking about how long can I keep my muscles activated? So when you go quick, there's like hardly anything happening. Your body's just not doing anything. You got to go slow, really feel it. Shoulder blades on your back, belly in. Let's do one more. And go low in that seat. That's why those heels are up. Go low. Yes. All right. Now, from here, bring your weights to your chest. Sit low and put your weights on the floor. Fingertips touch. Try to do a forward bend here with your heels off, elevated. And notice how it feels different. So I can almost straighten my legs and still keep my body really close to my legs, which gives me really good information about keeping my spine long. And then when you sit down, we were here, can you lower any further and go through that full range of motion? And then can you go back up? Nice and slow. You're just asking. You're not forcing. If the answer is no, then don't do it. This is like flossing your knees. One more time. So we did a miniature version of this when we were in the very beginning. Alrighty, from here, plant your hands, take a step back over your blanket and come to downward facing dog. And your downward facing dog should feel a little different now, maybe a little bit more open. And then when you're ready, please take your knees to the floor, take them a little wider, come back to that child's pose that we were in the beginning. Knees are a little wider, arms are extended over your head. And you're taking a moment to pause. Now, I don't want you to take your blanket too far away from you because we're going to use it one more time. But before that, we're going to do something else. So I want you to come up and lean on your right hip. And I want you to come down on your right elbow, stack your knees, not straight up like this, a little bit further back, but your feet are lined up with your hips and shoulders. Your elbow is a little bit ahead of your shoulders, but not too far. And you're going to pay attention to your underside carriage here because you tend to hang. And so what I want you to imagine is pushing into your hand and lifting this up. Can you feel that? And then hang on purpose. And then lift it up. Can you feel that? And hang on purpose. One more time, lift it up. So when you lift it up, I want you to push into your hand and lift your hips. Take your arm up to the sky. Come back down. Lift ribs, lift hips and arm. And if you want to do the full Monty, straighten your leg all the way out. Come down. Ribs, hips, arm, and maybe leg. Come down. And so you're just moving down and up, coming primarily from the ribs first. So that engages your oblique muscles, your trunk muscles, and then lifting the hips to work the outer hips. And then, of course, that final leg out works the outer hips on the other side. Let's do one more. Now, when you're up there, stay. Just stay. Press down through your hand. Lift your ribs. Lift your hips a little higher. Hand goes to the sky. Leg maybe to the other wall. Good. Release and come down. Now, listen. I want you to push yourself up. Take your leg that's on top and wrap the foot around the other leg and sit all the way up. So I'm holding onto my knee. I'm not letting my leg fall open. And I want to pull my hand and push my knee into my hand. And it's going to help me sit up really straight. Can you feel both sitting bones on the floor? So remember, I'm trying to push my knee into my hand. I'm trying to pull back with my hands. And that gives my back something to do while I stretch this top leg hip. Good. Release and switch sides. So you're on your forearm. Your knees are bent. So your feet are, like if you've ever had hip injury, you do this motion called clam, right? Which is pretty much what we're doing, only on steroids. All right. Try a couple without the hip first. Lift this rib cage up. You want to feel the shoulders engage. You want to feel this rib engage. And then drop through, kind of hang here. And then pull up. Now I'm pushing into this hand on the floor. Release down. Last time, you're going to pull up, push into the hand, and then maybe lift the hip. Maybe the arm. Maybe the leg. Down and rest. Push down to lift up. And maybe unfold everything. And down. So the work here is the lifting of the hip works the bottom leg hip. And then if you're opening the leg out all the way, you're working your top leg hip. Last time, go up and stay. See if you can do 2 or 3, 4 breaths there. Really organizing yourself with hand pressing down, ribs lifting up, lots of open stretch with the leg and the arm. Take one more breath and then come down. And as you push yourself up, take this top leg and wrap it over, foot over the bottom knee. And see if you can organize yourself. So this side, my hip doesn't want to go all the way down. Hold on with your hands around your knee and push your knee forward. Pull your hands back to lift your chest up and see if maybe your sitting bone on this leg side doesn't drop down more. Try to keep your foot on the floor, so I don't want it floating up. And really organize yourself here. Pull and push. I always say that muscles need a job, even when you're stretching. Muscles need a job. All right, one more breath. and then let it relax. Okay, now I want you to use your blanket again, but not fold it. I want you to roll it up. Now this is one of those old wool blankets we used to use years ago in studios. I just happen to have it here. So I'm going to open it up, but you might have a skinny one, might not do the same. So I'm going to roll mine up about halfway. And my head is going to end up on this other extra part of the blanket. And if you have any kind of neck issues, I want you to put something underneath your head, like maybe a little pillow or a little, another little blanket. And then you're going to take yourself back over this blanket roll so that it touches the bottom of your shoulder blades, but not your ribs or not your kidneys. Hands go behind your head, interlace your fingers, draw your elbows towards your center body. And then before we do anything else, lift your hips and take your tailbone to the ceiling and drop down so you feel like you've got more space in your lower back. From here, you're going to unfold yourself to the floor. Now this may feel hard, and your instinct is going to be to want to roll so that the roll is on your soft tissue, which is more below your shoulder blades. Please don't do that. If it feels impossible, make the roll smaller. You can hear that I'm talking and I don't have any restriction, but if my head were back like that, my voice would change. So just notice that. And you're going to inhale and press your elbows open as much as you can. Exhale, bring your elbows forward and start to curl yourself so that you can see your legs. Inhale, head down, open the elbows nice and slow. And then exhale, elbows and curl. Now this is one of those oldie but goodie movement patterns that mimic ball work. So if you've ever done big stability ball work, this is similar. We're working from what's called hyperextension or back bending to flexion. I want you to think about your ribs drawing down and in as you roll up. So my ribs are moving in and down, and then when I come back, they're going to move away and kind of poke up a little. Exhaling, try the next one. Bring one knee towards the same side elbow, and then back down nice and slow, inhaling. Exhaling, elbows up, bring the other knee into the other elbow. And we're taking our time here, going super slow. The idea isn't to get the reps in. The idea is more to recruit deep muscles of the core body. So we're going to do 4 more. And the next 4, what I want you to do is when you come up, crisscross, elbow to the opposite knee. So when you're exhaling, elbows come up, bring opposite knee and elbow together. So you're doing a little baby rotation. Remember to open the arms all the way as far as you can, elbows all the way as far as you can when you inhale and come back. Yeah, go nice and slow. It's really hard for our ego to do it this way because we are so culture trained to do, 100 of these and really fast. And somehow that makes it better. I used to be that person, but I understand now that that's not optimal. That doesn't recruit the fibers. And yes, you want to have dynamic action so that you can move quickly, but that's a whole different focus. All right, after you've done your second side that way, I want you to just release down against the blanket, open your elbows, and then let your knees just drift from one side to the other. So we're just releasing here. We're releasing in this passive chest opener. Remember, don't let the roll get down underneath your shoulder blades. If it's against your kidneys, you really won't like it. It won't feel good, and there's a big reason for that. And as we come across and you drop your legs towards the floor, take a little extra time to press the top leg inward a tiny little bit. And because we're in this little baby back bend, you're going to feel this a little differently in your inner hip and outer hip and back. getting a little bit more in touch with the psoas muscle. Noticing if your elbows come off the floor as you move from one side to the other, try to really keep them open. Okay, the next time you come to center, see if you can bring your legs down. Bring your arms away from your head and come to cactus. Can you be here? Take about 3 or 4 breaths here, just resting. If your elbows are in cactus, your hands are on the floor, and you feel pretty comfortable with your head down, that's wonderful. You actually did a nice release of tissue by activating the muscles so that you could do that. If you don't have time for anything else in the day, doing this every single day is really optimal to help fight the postural problems that we have with the whole tech neck and thoracic syndrome and chronic pain in the upper body. Simple. All right, we're gonna bend the knees here. We're gonna roll off the blanket, take it out from underneath you, and then you're gonna lay back down on your back all the way. Just take a moment here. Once you do that, you'll notice there's an ease or like a thank goodness that's over feeling. And then bring your knees to your chest. Try not to pull too hard, but just do a little gentle drawing in, letting your shoulders relax and your neck feel soft. And when you're ready to let go, take your feet to the floor. Go ahead and let your legs come down and your arms come down, resting in Shavasana. Once you're in Shavasana, please take a moment to take that nice deep breath in the belly. Remember, it signals to the body that not only are you resting, but you're also grounded, safe, but awake. Take a longer and deeper breath. Slowly bringing yourself back to your space, your body.
As you feel ready, start to stretch and move. Maybe bending your knees and bringing them to your chest. And then slowly rolling to a side. Take a breath or two there and coming up to sitting. And once you're seated, just pause for a moment, feeling the echoes of the practice. The deep breathing and the grounded sensations, the grounded but alert and awake sensations of the mind. And then letting your hands come together at the heart center, closing the practice with gratitude for our time together on the mat, this practice we call yoga, our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.